Remember how Captain Marvel had a box office of $1.12 billion just because Marvel sandwiched that movie in between Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame? Well, guess what? Spider-Man 4 is gonna be sandwiched between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. If Captain Marvel made $1 billion, imagine the potential Spider-Man 4 has in terms of box office. No, money isn't the main goal here, telling a good compelling story is, but a good story results in repeated viewings, which then converts into more box office. So it's all interconnected, and that's why Spider-Man 4 can no longer be a street-level story. In this video, I will explain and hopefully try to convince you that a street-level Spider-Man story is no longer a viable option for Tom Holland Spider-Man 4. Now, according to Daniel RPK, Spider-Man 4 will start filming on May 25th next year and will wrap up by October, meaning we're looking at a summer release in 2026 or perhaps a festive release in December, just like No Way Home was released during Christmas. Now, the report also says that Tom Holland will film Avengers Doomsday before he starts shooting for Spider-Man 4. And we've had previous reports where it said that Tom Holland Spider-Man will have a major role in Avengers Doomsday, bigger than he did in Infinity War or Endgame, which pretty much means he's gonna be one of the main leads. Now, Tom Spidey has gone through a lot of character developments in the MCU already, losing Uncle Ben, his mentor Tony Stark, Aunt May, and then his entire identity. With all that character development, it'd be a total missed opportunity for Marvel not to showcase his evolution in a grand way during an Avengers movie. It'd be kind of repetitive if we see another teenage version of Spider-Man who doesn't know any better, makes silly mistakes, and relies on older heroes to do the job. He's been through the ringer and is ready to take the center stage now. Now let me ask you a rhetorical question which will directly address the title of this video. Avengers Doomsday, a movie that has Doctor Doom as its main lead, who's a billionaire scientist and probably a better sorcerer than Doctor Strange, who might also take on the mantle of God Emperor Doom in that movie. Now, if Tom Holland Spider-Man is playing a significant role in that movie, how can we possibly expect the next film to revert back to a more grounded, street-level story? In fact, looking at Marvel's Phase 6 slate, it is almost certain that Spider-Man 4 will directly lead us to Avengers Secret Wars. Let me simplify it for you. The storyline from Fantastic Four First Steps is set to lead us straight into Avengers Doomsday, which will then transition into Spider-Man 4, ultimately paving the way for Avengers Secret Wars. So regardless of what Sony or Marvel might want, the new direction Marvel is taking by scrapping Avengers Kang Dynasty means it's no longer feasible for Spider-Man 4 to stick to a grounded plot that ignores the multiverse. So although after No Way Home it seemed like a solid plan to have a street-level story where Peter Parker battles the likes of Kingpin or Mr. Negative, but given the current trajectory of the MCU and the profit Sony is eyeing for Spider-Man 4, a low-scale approach just isn't on the table anymore. Now let me explain why Sony has been pushing for a grand-scale Spider-Man 4 for the past 2 years. According to the current deal that Sony has with Disney, Sony doesn't make a dime from Spider-Man's appearances in the Avengers films. They only get the box office returns from the solo Spider-Man films like Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. That means they're missing out on the huge box office bonanza from Marvel's team-up films. So if you look at the situation from Sony's perspective, why would they lend out Spider-Man to be used in Doomsday and Secret Wars, films that are bound to break the $2 billion mark on a low end, only to settle for a street-level solo adventure that might not even match the success of No Way Home? And had No Way Home got released in China, it would have certainly surpassed the record of Avengers Infinity War. So Sony knows the immense power Spider-Man holds. That's why they're unwilling to settle for any low-scale Spidey film, while Marvel Studios gets to use him in high-scale ensemble movies. Think about it like this. If you're using something that I own, we'd totally be fine with both of us making a profit from it. But I definitely wouldn't sit back if you're cashing in way more than I am, especially since I'm the one who originally owns it. That's precisely the situation we're looking at here. Also, every time an Avengers movie hits the theaters, the film that precedes it often enjoys a significant boost in box office sales, as audiences are eager to keep up with the Avengers movies. Black Panther 1 is a perfect example for this. That movie led us directly to Avengers Infinity War, where the Battle of Wakanda took place. Yes, Black Panther would have been a hit on its own, but there's no denying that the buzz around it was amplified by its direct connection to Avengers Infinity War. And as I already said how Captain Marvel made over $1 $1 billion just because it was sandwiched between Infinity War and Endgame. And now Sony wants to replicate that pattern of success and make Spider-Man 4 one of the biggest Spider-Man movies ever made. From Sony's point of view, they would definitely want Avengers Doomsday to become a monumental hit with a cliffhanger bigger than Infinity War. This would create a frenzy of anticipation for Spider-Man 4 to come next and address the cliffhanger. And they would also want to gain some sweet profits from the film that follows after Spider-Man 4, Avengers Secret Wars. And how would they do that? By ensuring that the events of Spider-Man 4 have a direct impact on Secret Wars. This strategy allows Sony to ride the coattails of Doomsday's success while also capturing the audience's excitement for the upcoming showdown in Secret Wars. So you get the best of both worlds. Now in this scenario, Marvel needs to tread carefully. They can't let a character as iconic as Spider-Man feel like it got wasted. Here's what I think Marvel should do. Since they don't have to cover any costs for the solo Spider-Man films, 100% of the expenses are on Sony's end, so Marvel has to capitalize on this opportunity to craft a narrative that not only elevates Spider-Man 4 but also bolsters the entire MCU. This way, they can quadruple the hype surrounding Secret Wars. And I think if Spider-Man 4 exceeds expectations with a well-written, compelling story, it will add an extra $200 million to the box office of Secret Wars at bare minimum. So Spider-Man 4 is shaping up to be one of the most important Spider-Man films ever made for both Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures. Now there are reports from Alex Perez from the Cosmic Circus that says, with each passing day it becomes more and more multiversal than street level. At this point, I dare say it's leaning slightly cosmic than street. Meaning, as Marvel and Sony wrap up their pre-production on the film, it becomes more and more multiversal than street. He also said, and I quote, "Tom will get the symbiote suit in the next few years, and may keep it for the next couple of Spidey films. As for Tobey and Andrew, I heard that there's a very strong possibility they show up for an extended role this time around, given the setting of the multiverse saga. And perhaps that's why Andrew Garfield, who's now promoting his new movie We Live in Time, played coy when asked about his future as Spider-Man."
Have you offered up your own perspective, ideas to Amy and company about what you'd like to see?
See, I also understand that question as well. Because it was such a success.
Right.
That you'd kind of go, well, they must be talking about it. And Andrew, knowing Andrew as I know Andrew, Josh, I am Josh now. Andrew's full of ideas. So he's definitely expressed some of those. I can imagine how you would imagine that to be true.
We can clearly see that Andrew is dodging the question here, since he knows he's certainly coming back and does not want to lie this time around. So his best option is not to answer at all. And the reason I strongly believe what Alex said is because of the final trailer of Venom: The Last Dance, which confirmed that symbiotes didn't come to Earth by accident. They were fleeing from someone dangerous, aka Knull, the god of symbiotes. So let's put it all together. Knull is going to appear in Venom 3. Spider-Man 4 will be a cosmic level story. Multiple symbiotes will show up in the movie, and we know that Tom Hardy's Venom already knows Tom Holland Spider-Man because all symbiotes share knowledge through their hive mind, and Tom Spider-Man will get the symbiote suit in Spider-Man 4. All of these points indicate that in Spider-Man 4, Tom Spidey will team up with Tom Hardy's Venom to take on Knull. But of course, just the two of them may not be enough, so Tobey, who has previously fought a symbiote, might just lend a hand. And let's not forget Andrew Spidey, whose wish to battle an alien villain will finally come true. It's like a superhero reunion with all the pieces falling into place. But there's one big void that still remains, and that is, if Knull is the main baddie of Spider-Man 4, how does this stay connected to its preceding movie, Avengers Doomsday, where Dr. Doom is the villain? And that's where another scoop from Daniel RPK comes in, where he said that everything between Doomsday and Secret Wars will take place on Battleworld. So my theory is that in Doomsday, RDJ's Dr. Doom wreaks havoc across the multiverse, eventually leaving Tom Spider-Man on Battleworld by the end of the film. From there, the story picks up in Spider-Man 4, where he will face off against Knull. And in that process, Tom Spider-Man will acquire a new black symbiote suit. Not the one from Tom Hardy, but a different variant of Venom. And this journey will lead us right into Avengers Secret Wars, where we'll see Spider-Man rocking his iconic black suit, just like he did in the classic Secret Wars comics. And that's my current prediction and theories for Spider-Man 4, and why it can no longer be a grounded story. After No Way Home, Marvel initially aimed for a more grounded Spidey story, where Peter cleans up the streets in New York, while Sony has always been pushing for a multiversal showdown, something even bigger than No Way Home. And I believe the involvement of the Russo brothers, who will direct both Doomsday and Secret Wars, played a crucial role in convincing Marvel to side with Sony here. After all, it was under their direction that Tom Spider-Man first swung into the MCU. If they're steering this ship, I'm all in and have complete faith in their creative choices. Let me know what you lads think about my theories, and I truly hope you're still excited for this multiversal adventure, even though the news of it moving away from a street level might have been a letdown. I'll see you lads in the next one.